Um, life's been really hard lately. I, full disclosure, I won't say too many details because liability and safety issues, but I recently had a horse I was working with kick me in the face, like strike me with the front feet. They reared up and struck me and knocked my tooth out. I won't, it was a client horse I was working with. So that sucked. And then to yesterday evening, as I was coming home from teaching, or no, from working my horses, um, my service engine soon light came on. And so it's really felt like blow after blow after blow. And then I saw the news that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Putting aside any political garbage, because that is not what that man's life was about. I thought my life was hard. You know, I got kicked in the face. I have a tooth missing. I have a hole in my face. I'm gonna be spending about $4,000 to get a fake tooth at 25 years of age. My vehicle has gone down, and until about 2 minutes ago, I had no idea how much that would cost. But then I found out Charlie Kirk had been murdered. Regardless of what you believe politically, which again, that is not what that man's life was about. Nobody deserves to be assassinated, and nobody deserves to be assassinated in front of your kids. His children were there, according to some reports. I have not vetted said information super hard because I cry every time I see stuff relating to that. But the reason I'm making this video is not to commentate on any sort of politics. That man's life was not about politics. That was a small fraction of what he did. That man's life was a living testimony of serving Christ and furthering the kingdom. And as I said before I had to end my previous video, from the beginning, my business, my training program, my life has been a Christian one. And over the past few years, I have not pushed that narrative a lot because Christianity offends people. And my entire business began because of God. I had a crazy dream that I wanted to do the Extreme Mustang Makeover in Fort Worth, Texas. I am from Indiana. That is a day's travel with a trailer, if not more. And the pickup to pick up the wild animal was in Nebraska. I had never trained a horse before, and that was my dream. And my mother and father and God made that happen for me. On the way home from this pickup, I couldn't think of a name for my horse. I've talked about this story a couple times. I couldn't think of a name for my horse. And I prayed that if his name was meant to be Courage, he would touch me. And I kid you not, when we stopped for gas, I had grass in my hand. He touched my hand instead of touching the grass or taking the grass. It was deliberate. It was divine. And my entire life is a testament to what God has done for me. And instead of being bold and outspoken about that, I've been, over the past few years, very quiet. And Charlie's murder has made me realize how important it is to speak about what God does and who he is. I spent several years after my first makeover kind of in the dark, quiet, ghosting. I had an army of prayer warriors over me during my competition. And then God provided me with multiple incredible internships that taught me a lot. And then I had arguably my most significant. I would argue my first internship was probably also could have been considered my most significant because it started me on the journey. But my last internship, I made a lot of big decisions in my career, and I did another competition. And I was dealing with a lot of doubt, feeling like I was not in the right field, in the right job. And I prayed from the beginning, pretty much, closer to the end a lot more. I prayed that if I was meant to be a horse trainer, I would win. That was, and they say you're not supposed to make deals with God. You really shouldn't. But I did, because I'm a foolish human being. I'm flawed. And that was my deal. If you want me to be a horse trainer, make it happen. Prove to me that I'm doing the right thing. And he did. You can say, well, you did it because you worked for it. God did it. I wanted to take a moment to talk about God's work in my life, as well as some of the things that Charlie said that really challenged my beliefs or really pushed me specifically about some biblical things. But another thing that he said that I saw right before I started this, and my phone's about to die, so I won't be on here for long, was he spoke about courage being one of the central virtues, because it takes courage to be honest. It takes courage to be strong. And I do feel like courage has been a theme in my life, and I have squandered it because I am not courageous. I want to be, I try to be, but I am not brave. I am fearful a lot. I just look brave. And maybe that partially counts, I don't know. But he had some really great statements about courage and how courage is central to a lot of the important values in our lives, like honesty and but Charlie was probably known for a lot of his political discourse. But one of the most incredible things, and why I want to talk about his amazing legacy, is he was a bastion for the faith. He was unapologetically Christian. He never apologized for what was right and what was true. He spoke the truth, and he was never afraid to do it. The center of Charlie was his faith. Somebody asked him a while ago, what do you want to be remembered for? And he laughingly said, if I died, which, looking back, is depressing and morbid. But he said, I want to be remembered as being courageous for my faith. And I think we can all safely say that he was. Oh, my Bible verse died. I was going to read a Bible verse. She gone. Oh, there she is. Whenever I get to the point, my phone's going to die. But anyway, he said he wanted to be remembered as being courageous for the faith. And I think it's safe to say he was. So I wanted to read the verse about, not a YouTube video. Oh, there we go. It's ESV, but we'll forgive him. So it's Matthew 5:13 through 16. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. He has a really great quote that I could hardly find because right now people are misquoting him and taking quotes out of context because that's what the left loves to do. And that's all I'll say on politics. But he has a really great quote that is now hard to find because of all that. He says something along the lines of, what does salt and light do? Salt and light changes the environment it is in. God called us to change the environment we are in, which made that verse, I get chills now, it made that verse make sense. For the longest time, I was like, but how do you know if you've lost your saltiness? How do you know if you are a light? Do you change the environment you are in? And if not, work on that. Because once you stop changing the environment you're in, you're not doing God's work. Yes, pray. We do need to pray for his wife and his children and his family. Something I think people have lost is he was not a Republican. He was not a conservative. He was a father. He was a son. He was a husband. He has 2 little kids who will barely probably remember him. And there's video of his assassination. No one should see that. I think it's time that we start being louder about who and what we believe in. I think it's time that we start being salt and light and change the environment we are in. That means no more saying how much you hate your job. Be positive and change something. That means no more cursing. If the environment you're in is cursing and vile language, and I'm guilty of it, change it. Stop. My mom is a perfect example of salt and light. She changes the environment she's in. The place she works is known for being a cesspool of sin and debauchery and evil. To most people, it's a coffee shop. She does not succumb to the easy and the evil. She changes the environment. She does not curse. She does not condone the sins, but she is still a loving person that anyone there can go and talk to without judgment. She changes the environment she is in for better. that's really the main thing I came here to talk about was be salt, be light, change the environment you're in. If the environment you're in is negative, be positive. If the environment you're in is vile and sinful, be so different that people look at you like what's wrong with them. The entire point as Christians is that we should be different. The entire point is that people should look at us and go, why are they different? What do they know that I don't? And if people can't look at you and say, why are they different? You're not doing it right. We're not meant to be of this world. We are meant to be so different that that people notice. People see that difference. And I have not been faithful in that over the past year or two. I have watered myself down to fit into the narratives of those around me instead of saying, I am not like you. I do not want to be like you. I want to be like him. Wanting attention doesn't lead to sin. It just what? So wanting attention is not a sin. Wanting attention is a normal human condition. We want attention. The problem is we want attention from the wrong thing. Humans cannot fulfill the void that you want because they don't understand you the way he does. He knows everything about you. He understands all the intricacies and all of the heartache and all the hurt, and only he can fulfill that need for attention. As an attention craver, I don't think I'm an attention seeker, but I am an attention craver. I do enjoy attention a little too much. Go, because my phone's about to die. Yeah, I think it's sad that we have to preface things with, as a person of color, you're just a person. It's not about what color you are. Unpopular opinion, maybe. You are a person, and that is all that matters. But maybe I'll speak on this more later, but the general idea is that we need to be salt and light. We need to change the environment we are in. People should look at you and notice that you're different. And if they don't, be weirder. Prayers for Charlie Kirk and his family and everyone close to him. My heart is broken. I have cried so much over this man that I have never met, that I have in fact not liked on occasion, and I have wept over him and his family. So pray for them. And if you remotely support or don't feel bad for what happened, please leave. I don't ever want to hear from you again. But pray for them. Be the salt and the light. Don't be ashamed of who you are.